Hello again, this is Damien from FixWinPC, and thank you for joining me on my channel today. I know it has been a while since I put out any videos. I've been a bit busy, and I do apologize for not keeping the content as constant as it should be. Thank you to all my subscribers, by the way, for sticking with me from day one. I'm just glad I'm able to help and assist people with whatever issues they're having. I just try to put out stuff to help people out. Now, this morning I just said I'll do a quick video. It's supposed to be just one video. I did a bunch of quick videos this morning. As I'm waiting on my chair, and they're going into what they call it. They have like a mini marathon. So I'm just waiting in the car till they come back. So until they do, I just decided to use the time to make some videos. Now today, one of today's topics is going to be remote storage for your CCTV system. Now, I live in Trinidad, and it is becoming a trend where when people come into your establishment or your homes and they observe you have a surveillance system, after they have committed whatever they come to do, they usually try to take the entire surveillance system, like the entire recording box. They would ask you, hey, where the box? And you take them and they just yank it out or cut the cables, and they'll go with the whole box so that you would have no recording of their face or when they came, when they left, nothing to help the police. So it has been, a few of my clients have been requesting, and some people who have also been requesting quotes have been asking as well for external storage in case their device is stolen. So I have a couple recommendations. Well, there's a few recommendations you could do. So going into the remote storage, you can always opt for network attached storage, or NAS as it is called. And there are some ready-made ones. There's some from different manufacturers, and they come in like these ready-made boxes with Ethernet ports. Some of them use Wi-Fi. I would suggest using the Ethernet port. Or depending on your situation, use Wi-Fi. But however you're going to set up these network attached storage, make sure that there's enough bandwidth on both ends. On the end where your device is recording, and the end where you're sending storage to. Because remember, it depends on the system. You're going to be sending high definition video. That's a lot of data, and it's going to be streaming over the internet. So you want to make sure that your uploads and downloads, upload from the DVR side is high enough to handle that and manage the network, and run the network, as well as the download side on where your NAS is big enough to handle the information coming. So you could have a steady flow, and that the information can flow there in real time. Because there's several modes you can use. So let's get back to the types of storage. Alright, we'll get to the modes. The types of storage, like the ready-made ones, like I see Western Digital has a MyCloud 8 terabyte ones, especially. This will take care of most home-based systems, right? As a remote storage. You could have it, somewhere else at a relative's house, or wherever there's an internet connection beside your home, or you could have it in the home, just in a separate location, right? So that in the event that it is taken, you will have recorded footage backed up to this device. Now, as I say backed up, what I mean is that if you're going to have it recording in such a way that if somebody should yank the DVR, you would have some footage of them yanking the DVR and going out with it. Well, at least before they yank it, you would have some footage. You would you'd want to record that in real time, so you want to have that uploaded to your network attached storage by means of an FTP service that would be included in your NAS package. Like in device, they would have a FTP service on it. Some do, some don't. Just check the specs on your device, so you can always record directly to that. So you will have something in the event that you lose your device. Next, for those who have commercial businesses, you might have 16, 20, 25, 40 cameras. You would want a more robust system than these ready-mades. What I would suggest is that you build a NAS or build a server, a storage server, and you could have it either on the business premises or at your residence, and it could record there. Remember, bandwidth is important. Remember your bandwidth. And also, if your system carries 8, 10, 12 terabytes of data, you'd want to at least match that on the backup side, so that you would have, if you want to do the real-time recording, you would have that amount for real-time recording. You could probably have real-time recording and save like a week on the remote storage side. You just save a week and you just recycle. Because remember, you just want to keep something in case it gets yanked. You would have up to the last few minutes or the day or a few days before, so you would have that footage. Now, you would keep the longer archive footage if you want also on that device, or if you want to keep that on the DVR or the NVR itself. So it just depends on where you want to store it, how much you want to keep, and your bandwidth. Bandwidth is important, because if your bandwidth is slow, at the point of when they pull the DVR and NVR, you might still be recording yesterday's footage if your bandwidth is low, because it's taking that long to get to the other side. It's like a bridge, and if there's a bottleneck by the bridge, you're going to have traffic, and that traffic is going to slow everything down. It's going to pile up over here, and then it'll just trickle across the bridge very slowly. That's the internet. Because your upload and download bandwidths are very low, it's going to trickle across and it's going to come in very slowly. It will come, but it will take some time. So that's why I say ensure your bandwidth is good on both sides. So that would help very much with the transfer of information. Now, do I recommend having additional storage? Yes, I do. It is additional expense, but it depends on your budget. If you can find a few extra bucks in the budget, a few extra dollars, you could implement this. This is something I would recommend. Redundancy, information redundancy. It's always good to have a backup copy. Now, as I said, the different modes. We discussed the real-time mode. Now we're going to discuss backup. Now, you could have a backup mode in where that when the DVR gets full or it reaches a certain capacity, you can then dump all the information to a server. This is more would be for archiving purposes. So you have a 1 terabyte, it gets to 800 gigs, and at that point you set it to back up to the FTP server, and it will just transfer all the information over, and it will dump everything, so that you have that information saved in case you do lose your DVR, or if for some reason something happens and your hard drive goes bad on your DVR and NVR, you have an archive backup, and you can have archives backed up for how far ever back you want to go. If you want to keep information for footage for a year, you can do that with the archiving system. You can archive a year's worth of footage. Now, the cost you're going to run into is basically storage. You're gonna have to get more terabytes of data to back up all this. These terabytes of data you're gonna have from your NVR going to this remote device. Now, if you're archiving, you could keep that on premises somewhere else, or probably in the same room, because they might just go with the DVR and just leave the computer looking thing. Like, nah, we don't need that, and they just go. You never know. So there's the archiving method. We discussed the real-time method before, and with archiving and the real-time method, there's another method you could try that would really, really maximize the entire idea of off-site storage as well as on-site storage. Now, most people are concerned that, okay, these guys are going to go with DVR or the NVR. Now, on IP cameras, not all, some IP cameras have a space for SD card. Now the SD card is a form of flash memory. It's like a USB drive, but in a very small form factor. It can fit onto the camera itself. Most IP cameras have this slot available. Now, when you start using SD cards directly on the camera, you get into what is called edge recording, because the camera is like an edge device. The IP cameras can process all these images itself, save it onto the SD card. Now, this, the price of the SD card is in comparison to the cost of the camera is by percentage minimal. It's like 10% of the cost of the camera or 20% maybe, but the cost increases as the amount of cameras increase. So it may not seem to most people as the best option, but if you're serious about information redundancy and having footage of things that are happening, edge recording is the way to go. It will almost negate the need for DVR, and you just need the software somewhere to just point everything to record somewhere. So you could have let's say 16, 20 cameras, or you could have some cameras around your compound, and then these cameras each have SD cards in there. Right now, apart from the regular switch and power needs you're going to need, they have recording directly on the cameras. Now something happens and you would have that recording there. Now these recordings will record on the device itself. Now because they record on the device, they're going to be smaller number, like 256 gigs or something like that, right? Now that can get chewed up very quickly in the space of a week or less. But remember, it's per camera. That camera alone is recording to that amount of storage. Now you can direct the camera that when the storage is full, it can then move all the files to a FTP server or a storage server of your choosing, or even to a PC with an extra hard drive in it. But just be sure that when it moves, that the PC is on to receive. This is why we recommend a server that will be on and dedicated for this purpose. So you have the edge recording, cameras recording at the camera itself. So regardless, if you also have an NVR and it's recording to the camera itself, if they take the NVR, the camera, once it has power, once it's separately powered from the NVR, those NVRs that have power on the back, if you're going to have this system, you might as well power it somewhere else, right? And once you record it, yeah, sorry about that. A loudspeaker was passing. I just had to pause the video for a minute. So we write the edge recording. So if you're recording on edge and you're using archiving, it's all good. Now, as I said, if they take the NVR itself, you have footage directly on the camera. So the footage that you have directly on the camera would assist greatly when it's time to see what they took, who took what, once the cameras are powered separately. So those DVRs, those NVRs, that have the built-in jacks in the back, that's all well and fine. But if you're going to be doing all this redundancy, you're going to want to power these cameras separately. The NVR can still attach onto the cameras. The cameras can still get to find the NVR, but they just won't be using direct power from the NVR. Yes, these things will incur additional expenses, but your information will be secure and you would have it in the event of loss of the NVR. As I said, it's becoming a trend where when they commit their crimes and they want to cover up their tracks, they take the NVR. They don't go into it and delete footage. They take the entire box, and then they might sell that box later on. Who knows? Criminals. What do you do? So this is just my little advice, little tidbits on ways and means. If you would like me to get into any particular one of these topics in detail, you can let me know in the comments. If you want a video, if you just need some advice, need some advice as to how to go about configuring such things, there's plenty of material on YouTube, or you can email me directly at fixwinpc@gmail.com, and we will work with each other to find out the best solution for your situation. So thank you for joining me once again. This is Damien from FixWinPC, and have a nice day.